Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello and welcome. We are so excited. Yes, this is another episode of Tuesday Marketing Broadcast with Giver Marketing. Hello to our fan base. Hello, our Giver marketers, and hello to all the groups that we collaborate. I get so happy and excited when I get to see all the different people we get to work with and all the different groups we get to do things with, because that's kind of us. We love to collaborate. Hi, Joel.
Hi. I'm here collaborating.
We certainly are. Welcome. So I'm excited about today. Did you know what we're going to focus on today?
Networking. No. Yes.
How did you know? It's the Networking Diva. That's one of my favorite topics. However, we're going to dive in even deeper because it's going to be a really cool topic. We're actually going to talk today about membership magic, right? Secrets only the top connectors, if you knew any of those, using membership organization groups.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of a cool concept, right? So when you think about that, right, we network all the time, or we have opportunities to network, whether or not we take advantage of them. But joining an organization is a different beast, right? How you network within that, right? What you need to keep in mind. If you've ever joined an organization before and you're like, I don't know anybody, I don't know what's going on, what do I do? What are the rules for engagement here? You know, do you have a list for me? It tells me the do's and do nots.
Yes. And there's a lot of times when Giver Marketing was my first networking organization that I was a part of.
Oh.
And I came in and knew nothing. And I'm so thankful for people like Timothy and Christine, because they were probably like, okay, this kid just needs a little, like, his heart's in the right place, but he needs some help. And a lot of this stuff that we're going to talk about today is exactly the stuff that Christine and Timothy brought up to me. It was like, okay, here's how you do this. And then you just learn new steps and new tricks as we go. And so as we're going to talk today, we're going to actually hear some stories from Christine and I about the do's and don'ts, and hopefully we'll get some disaster stories, and hopefully we'll get some really good learning stories.
Absolutely. And I want to say, when it comes to organizations, it really is what you make out of it, right? I mean, your experience is your own. You can't go into a group and be like, it didn't work. Okay, well, what did you do to make it work? Did you just think you were going to walk in? I am the king. I am the queen. Everybody bow down, pay attention to me, serve me.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot where it's like, okay, what kind of group are you in? Because that will shift how you actually act in those groups. If the way I act in Giver Marketing is going to be different than the way I act, say, in my local commerce group in New Jersey here. And if I treat them both the same, I'm going to get disappointed in one or the other.
Right. Realistic expectations for the group that you're in, right?
Exactly.
Let's look at some of the things that are good across all groups, and then some things that you might want to keep in mind on specific groups, right? Like, while we hit this, let's look at some of the secrets that we have, though. First secret is the mindset of top connectors, which is really the gift of giving, right? It's really, when we think about the mindset when you're walking into a situation, right? If you come in with that attitude of, what are you going to do for me? You're already off. People are like, oh, you're a needy person, or, oh, I see you understand the concept of teamwork. Not right. So when you're walking in, that mindset, right, of abundance, to me, that's huge.
There was a guy in the Giver Network. His name is Tom Van Dyke. I don't know if you've met him, but I had the pleasure of meeting him. And one of the things he always said is, you want to be the first one to give something in a networking call. Like, yes, it's great to give something later on, but if you can jump in and find a way to be the first person to give something in a networking call and set the tone, what it does is it sets the other expectations for everybody else in that call that says, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to be the giver here. And I want, and then they're like, okay, well, generally most people will sit there and go, I want to match that. I want to match that.
Right.
And if
so
you
now we
can
have the giver mindset attached to the concept of
repercussion.
Help me.
Reciprocation.
There you go. That one.
I actually said repercussion the first time, and I'm like, that's not the right word.
Oh, they shouldn't leave us unsupervised. Just
Timothy, where are you?
Right? It's just like the network's gone mad. Just
That's what happens when you leave Christine and JD in charge.
yeah, life happens. Anyway, as we're talking about organizations, right, that giver mindset is really important. And the idea, like you said, set the tone. Be that person that sets the tone in an organization, right? The first one to volunteer to help with something, the first person to do a give back, right? Be that person. What's that do for you and your credibility now?
Well, when you're the first person to jump in and say, hey, I'm willing to help, even if you're like, I don't quite know what needs to be done, but I'm willing to help, what it does is it tells everybody else that you're actually ready for some sort of connection or collaboration. And if I don't like in the Giver Network, there was probably 6 months where I was in the network and I would just meet with people here and there. When I volunteered to go into the core team and really do something, that's when things started shifting in my connections. And now I've got 2 or 3 collaborations from the network where we're making money together. But that doesn't happen until I sit there and go, okay, I'm going to just do this. I have some spare time. I'm going to use that spare time to help people. And then from there, people are like, oh, that's someone I want to work with. And so it really builds that reputation as you are a valuable resource. And that's really what you need to, if you can get that reputation, then people are going to want to introduce you to other people in their network. And it's just going to be automatic because they're like, this is someone you want to know because they're here to help you.
Absolutely. And when you think about that, right, with the strategic relationship building, right, you're building those bridges with other people. People like people, right? We do business with those we know, like, and trust, right? So when you look at people as relationship opportunities rather than just another contact to add to my CRM, right, that's a different mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's really about making sure you have that mindset. A lot of people call it, I can't remember, but they'll call the opposite of that the scarcity mindset, where you just don't want to give anything.
Versus abundance.
Yeah, thank you. Because I'm a pastor, right? So my mindset is I'm trying to not use the Christian jargon, and I'm like, I don't have it. I don't have the words.
That's okay. We understand. Be who you are.
But it's really that
that's
abundance.
Being authentic, right? Building authentic relationships is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's our next?
Our next topic is, as we bring into our secrets, right? So we've got the mindset. You got to start with the right mindset. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you've got the mindset down, now you're ready to kind of step in. You got to set yourself up for success before you even go into an organization. Right. And you're like, what? Work before I even start? Most people just want to jump in. They don't want to do any of the work beforehand. I'll be fine. I'll do it on the fly. There's some steps you need to take ahead of time to make sure that you're ready to fully participate in this organization and use it to the best of your abilities.
And this is the same for Giver Marketing as it is for H7, as it is for Unicorn Universe, as it is for, those are the ones on top of my head. I can't think of the rest. Well, it's the same for your business. It's like, you don't go into a meeting with a client unless you're prepared. And Absolutely. So it's like if I'm going to build a customer service journey for a company, I need to have, before I do that, I need to know all of the things that they need me to know, that they want their clients to know. Otherwise, any onboarding features aren't going to work. They're going to sit there and go, oh, people need to know about this. And I'm like, well, that's something I need to know. And I need to have those questionnaires ready to ask people those right off the top.
All right. So you need to know this is the things I need to know before I even step into this, right? And when it comes to organizations and joining organizations, you have to think about, okay, what's my foundation? What do I need, right? You need your online presence, right? Make sure that's good, because what happens is you meet somebody and they go, oh, let me check them out. Oh, I can't remember their phone number. Let me go look them up, right? Now they're looking online for you. And what does your online presence look like? All right. If it's a hot mess.
Yep. It's like one of my VAs. I'm just going into story after story here. One of my VAs, I had to actually just redo his entire LinkedIn profile because he's doing some work for us, and I'm allowing him to use our banner to help to basically create his own business for the time being. But I had to go in and sit there and go, if you're gonna be holding my hi dog, if you're gonna be holding. If you're going to be holding as a legacy, as a member of Legacy, then I need to go through your LinkedIn and know that you're representing well. And so we had to go that. But that's even the basis of networking, is if I can look at Christine on LinkedIn and I'm like, her profile is messy and it doesn't say really what she does right off the top. I'm going to sit there and go, okay, why am I meeting with her? Why did Timothy put me and Christine in a room together? Because that doesn't make any sense.
Right. And some of it's just having your basic contact details on there. People are like, oh, I don't want to put things online. I don't want to, would you rather have the people that want to reach out to you be able to reach out to you? Or are you going to live in fear or abundance? I mean, hello, right? So what's dictating your decision-making process?
Exactly.
At least put your phone number, your email address, your something on there. You'd be surprised how many people have their social media so locked down. If you're in business, you need a certain amount of transparency. You have to put yourself out there a little bit.
Let me give you a hint. My phone number for my phone isn't on social media. My Google Voice number is. So you can protect yourself, but still have contact information out there. Let's face it, most people text these days, they don't call. So a Google Voice works perfect.
Yeah, it's a nice in-between stop mechanism for, that balance between the privacy and the not privacy. Right? Yeah, but you have to set up your online presence, whether, whatever social media areas that you're going to be in, right? You got to make sure that you look good. Make sure you got a nice smiling picture. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at somebody's profile. I'm like, that was their choice. What did the other photos look like?
So funny story. Let me show you my profile after her having that conversation about making sure you're smiling. 1 second. Let's share.
Oh goodness, I'm afraid to ask, Joel. What does this profile picture look like?
All right, can you see?
Yeah, there you go.
So it's a very serious profile because this was an acting photo. This is not a business photo. There's a big difference between a business headshot and acting headshot. And sometimes, and I use this because it's the closest I've got to a smiling Joel photo. But what does it say about you? What does it actually say about you? Sorry, I just wanted to.
I like to encourage people to smile. So yeah, good point. I've seen some mug shots on there. You're like, I would not want to call you. I wouldn't want to meet you in a dark alley either.
Yep, exactly.
Smile for us, right? Be approachable. So make sure when you're getting ready to join a membership, you're trying to put yourself out there. Make sure that you're ready to present yourself, right? This is your PR. This is you saying this is how I want to present myself to the world. So make sure your online presence looks good. Make sure that you've got the tools necessary to walk into a meeting and meet people. Do you have business cards? Do you need some business cards? Do they need to be updated? Do you have a virtual card? Right? Have some way for people to be able to get your information, right? That's really important part of connecting with people.
And then you need to find yourself a good CRM.
Which, that is key. Yes.
If you don't there's 100 free options out there. Find one that works. I use HubSpot. Christine, what do you use?
I like Go High Level because it's an all-in-one. It's also goes with the marketing stuff and affiliate programs and all sorts of fun things in there.
Yeah. And so, but there's all of these options out there and you just have to pick one and use it.
Because and I'm going to give you a heads up. I know HubSpot is great for a starter, but if you start getting too big, it's going to get really expensive really fast.
Yes, it does.
Other systems like Zoho are great, but you got to remember each section is its own price. So you're like, oh, I want to use the CRM. Great. And then, oh, you want to use the booking system? That's this extra price. Oh, you want it, right? So I call them nickel and dime you to death, but they're a really good system, but you just have to know what you're walking into when you start it, right?
And knowing, and that's exactly with a CRM, that's exactly what you need to know. Like, I know that HubSpot will be good for me up to a point. At that point, I switch to go high level because that's what I'm going to be needing.
Absolutely.
And we've got people in our network. So if you are looking for a go high level, we've got people in our network that we can connect you to.
Yeah, we know how to do go high level. We know how to do Zoho. We know how to do HubSpot, right? We've got experts in those areas if that's something you're looking for. But that CRM, we're like, okay, we're telling you to use the CRM. You're like, why? How did we go from business cards to CRM? Let me connect the dots there, okay? So you've got the business cards. Now what do you do with them? They sit in a box, right? A shoebox on the end of your desk. No. Right. So you want to put people into your CRM. That does not mean take them and put them in your CRM and then sign them up for your newsletter so they get all your blood. Don't vomit on them. Okay. You have to ask people's permission before you sign them up for your newsletter. Okay. But the CRM helps get you organized, right? A good thing to always put in is if you're doing business networking is like their industry, right? Maybe you can tag them according to industry. This way you can find all the like-minded people, which really helps when you're doing your networking. Someone says, oh, I'd love to meet realtors. She's like, hold on a second. Let me type that tag in here. There's all my realtors. Sure. How can I help you with them?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Get organized right off the bat. This way you don't lose that. And then also gives you an opportunity to track what you've done, right? So you can say, okay, talk to this person on this date, met them here, right? Follow-up conversation here. You can follow the journey of your relationship with them. You can leave yourself notes to come back and do something with them specifically, or call them in, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever that time table is that you've decided.
It's when you start networking, especially in an organization that has 100 members or more, you tend to lose track of people very quickly. And you sit there and you find yourself in Christine's Wednesday networking group, and you're like, Rob, I haven't seen you in ages.
Whoops.
What are you up to? I didn't even stay connected with you. How is it? How are you doing? And they're like, oh yeah, crap, I completely forgot about you too. And it's like,
and I thought you liked each other. You do. It doesn't mean you don't like somebody. It just helps you remember, right? It helps trigger those memories of, and by writing it in your CRM, what your interaction, what you've been doing, you can go back and review that before your next meeting. Like, oh, last time we talked about this, right? Or the last time I talked to him was this time, right? So you can remember those and help you moving forward. So we're saying part of your preparation process before you jump into a large group is to get these systems in place. This way it makes it a little bit easier once you're in it to be able to, continue to nurture those relationships. So that's where the CRM comes into play.
And one more thing that I like to put into a CRM personally is my note taker links. So every time I have a meeting, with the exception of this meeting, because this is going to be on YouTube, and I'll just go back and look at it if I want. But if I'm in a meeting, I want to know what happened in that meeting, and I need to be able to go back to my note taker so I can look at my summary and all the tasks I need to do and everything like that.
That is absolutely spot on, right? We have so much AI options. So if you're doing any kind of online meetings, right, take advantage of those tools where you can have the summary, have it in there. Yeah. How much faster is that when you're prepping for the next meeting with them to be able to look at the summary notes from the last meeting?
Yeah, like I honestly, I will copy and paste the summary notes into my CRM with a link on the top being like, if you want to know the details, this is the audio recording of it. And so I'll just sit there and go, boom, okay, this was what it was. This is what we said. Oh, did I really say that? Click, click. Oh, that's the context. That makes more sense. This is all stuff that's really useful in that you can do with a CRM. If you don't have a CRM set up,
let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk.
Set you up for success, please. Yes,
talk to Christine, talk to me. We will spend 30 minutes sitting there going, okay, these are some things you need to put in place. These are some options for you to look at, and we'll point you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
We'll not point you off a cliff.
It's essential. To me, the CRM is the backbone of your business. Everything else branches off of that. So to me, it's just absolutely essential. Now, one other thing you want to remember, because we're getting prepared before we launch ourselves into a large organization, is origin story. People think, oh, 30-second commercials. No, no, no. Origin story. Build relationships first. Now, if you're not familiar with the origin story, Joel, do you like origin stories?
I love origin stories. Batman Begins.
Right? The concept for the origin story, and I'm a Marvel fan too, so I get it. Well, actually, Batman isn't Marvel, is he?
That's
But
DC.
okay.
That's DC.
Right.
Iron Man.
There you
What?
go. See, the movies, no, so take the concept, right? So the origin story are these, you see this series of movies right now, of the origin stories of how this character became the superpower character that he is, right? Or she is.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what you're doing. You're creating your own origin story for your superpower and how you got to be where you are.
Yeah.
So just think of it in that same kind of genre. You get to be the superhero here.
You can build your origin story, and just think you've got about 5 minutes. You got about 5 minutes. You don't want it any longer than that, and that might be too long in itself.
I was gonna say we don't want to keep them a little shorter, like 1 minute, and then have backup origin stories to kind of support the origin story if anybody asks you a question about anything in it.
Do you have an example? Do you have an example of your 1 minute origin story?
Yeah, so origin story. Let's see. That's going to be kind of talking about how you got involved to where you're at, the epiphany of something that happened that was like aha moment, right? And then what you're doing now, right?
Yeah.
So
Literally, here's an example. So I was working at a homeless shelter. I got a job where I'm at right now. Then what happened was I ended up saving the company a lot of money out of a misunderstanding because I thought that I was managing the call center. I was supposed to be working in it, saved them $220,000, and they ended up launching me into Legacy. And that's how I got launched. Boom. Origin story in a minute. 30 seconds, actually. I think I got that one.
Just enough details to grab their attention, right? The whole point behind the origin story is for them to go, oh, interesting, kind of get a feel for you, your personality, your values sprinkled through, right? So that they want to continue and have a conversation with you.
Yes.
It's getting them, it's not just, I'm going to vomit my 30-second commercial all over you. It's oh, that's interesting. And they ask follow-up questions. Now they're showing they're interested in it. Now you share those extra details with them, right?
Yeah, and there's a whole conversation that happens, but the goal is for response. The goal is I want to interest you enough that you want to respond to me and ask questions. And if you're a good storyteller, you've got all those little tiny things in there in that 30 seconds.
This is a great time for storytellers. Exactly. If you're not a storyteller by nature, that's okay. You can work on your origin story and get to the point, but you want to have this ready. So when you're out meeting a lot of people, you're showing them why they want to be interested in you, right? I'm a former college professor. Absolutely loved the time I spent teaching, taught communications, public speaking, coached the speech and debate team, then took some time off to have my kids. And I was going to re-enter the workforce and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. My mama said, why don't you try credit card processing? And I thought, that's really weird, but okay. So I tried it and I realized I hated it. I don't like having short relationships and 500 phone calls in a day, right? My idea of a complete nightmare. But what I did discover was networking. Now, as a communications major, it just fell right in. I was like, oh, this feels like home. This is perfect. I got a lot of questions about networking, communications, marketing, right? People wanted advice. So rather than giving the advice away for free over and over again, I was already doing it. I might as well create my own business. So the Networking Diva came out of that need. So now I get to do exactly what I do. And I love it. And I love being able to help people. I get to work specifically with those that are do-gooders because I get to pick and choose who I want to work with. And
she works with me. I'm just saying.
With.
She works with me, which is impressive, actually. No.
Those do-gooders. That's right. You know, if you're on a mission to do good in the world, I want to meet you. That's what I always say. When people say, how can I help you? I go, I want to meet do-gooders. Introduce me to anybody that's on a mission to do good in the world. And they're like, really? I'm like, yep, that's simple.
I didn't know that you were in payment processing.
I did. So I understand what to look for, what not to look for. So that comes in handy when I coach my clients, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. I help them. Help them achieve goals, right? So that's actually one of the things you want to think about, which is my next step besides the origin stories. Be prepared with success stories and case studies. They don't have to be like, here's my case study, right? But have examples ready to rock and roll when people ask questions, right?
It's how at the beginning of my networking journey, there was a lot of staples of how not to give case studies. Because if you give a case study too early without being asked, what ends up happening is people start glazing over, and then you've wasted your case study, and then people are like, "Oh, I didn't even know you did that," and it's like, that was our first networking call.
Yep.
And you have to go back into it later on because it just went right over their heads because you started pitch slapping someone in a networking call, and that's just never good.
Rather than waiting for them to ask or seeing an opportunity where it seemed appropriate to slide that in, right?
Yep.
But think about the successes you've had in your business. Recently, I had someone I was coaching, and we were talking about multiple streams of income in their business. I love that topic, so I'm always looking for opportunities. And they were showing me some really cool tools they had, and I'm like, why are you not using this tool as a lead magnet to bring people into your organization? And then why aren't you doing this for the freebie? And then this is the course that you sell live and teach people how to do this and charge them lots of money for it. And he's like, because I didn't think of that. How do I do that? What, next thing you know, after he said, but that has the potential of bringing in an extra 10 to 20 grand a month, just having that one event every month, right? So you just never know what come about when you have conversations with people. So look for those opportunities where you can share those kinds of success stories, right? If they go, oh, you do customer service, Joel? I mean, okay, how do I know you're any good?
And at that point, I start telling you about how I've saved people $220,000 in their customer service on year over year, and how I brought their reputation from a Google score of a 3.2 to a 4.3, and then I start talking about all of those things.
Have those stories ready, right?
Yeah,
because you want to look good, right? So that's the secret, right? Being prepared before you even go into the meeting. Don't sit there and try and struggle at the last minute, right? Oh, you do this. Tell me more. No, it's not going to work real well, right? Be prepared ahead of time. Know your origin story. Be ready for success. Know your stories when you're walking in, right? Now, part of preparing for going into an organization is kind of, okay, you've got a reason why you wanted to join this particular organization, right? You got to vet it, make sure it's a good choice, right? So set clear expectations, right? What are your objectives? What are you looking forward to? What's reasonable in this situation, right? Ask yourself, why am I joining this group in particular? What are you hoping to get out of it? And remember, everybody joins an organization for different reasons. You may not realize that, but some people want more of the social side of it, right? We always say, don't be a lonelypreneur, come hang out with us at Giver Marketing, right?
Yep.
So, that's one of our things that we like, but we also like to bring in agencies too, right? So think about, what are you hoping to get out of it? Are you looking to build relationships? Are you looking to not be so lonely at work because it's lonely at the top, right? I mean, everybody that you talk to then is underneath you and looking to you for advice. So who do you go to for advice? So maybe you're looking for an opportunity to work with other business owners and that can offer you some advice on running businesses that you can't find within your own organization, right?
Maybe. And another few things is, if you're looking for referral partners, if you're looking for someone who is willing to refer people to you for business, you have to understand, what is it that you would look for in someone that you would refer your clients to, and you need to be that. If you're looking to do build a team, say that you want to do digital marketing, you're going to need someone who does social media, someone who does digital design, and you have to build your team, and you can do all of those things. Those are all good things to go after in a networking group, but you have to know what you're going after, and you have to know how to go after those specific things.
And we'll definitely hit that on more detail.
Did I jump ahead on the conversation?
Oh, no, we're good. That's exactly. I love where you're going with this, Joel. Right. So what do you want to get out of this? And you have to think about that. These are the three things I want out of it. I want referral partners. I want some collaboration partners. I want to make some couple of friends that I can hang out with that are business owners, because maybe everybody I know don't own businesses and we have a different mindset, right? Whatever it is that you're looking to get out of that, know what that is going in, so you have a plan and a strategy, right, to move forward with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe even check out like their membership levels, right? What is it that's appropriate? Am I a solopreneur? Am I a large organization? Am I a nonprofit? What's that look like for their memberships? Is it something that I'm willing to invest in? right? If the price point is like, ooh, that's a little bit high, right? That doesn't mean you shouldn't approach them. Sometimes there's opportunities to be had for negotiations. You just never know what skills you bring to the table.
Mhm.
Um,
Especially like just talking about Giver for a second. At the beginning, we were giving a lot of money to Giver because it was worth it. And I came to the point where I had a conversation with Timothy, and I was like, "Hey, look, I we don't have this kind of capital anymore. The first few months worked, but we don't have this kind of capital anymore." And he was like, "Do you know what? We like who you are. Let's see if we can work out something work out a situation." And I'm sure most networking groups are willing to do that if you're willing to have that conversation.
you have to be vulnerable and you have to be open to that, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Check out the attitude of the group. What are they doing? Are these people you actually want to hang out with? Go attend a free meeting, right?
yeah,
See if this is really a good fit for you or not. There's been times I'm like, ooh, this is a little bit too sterile and a little too just formulated, and it doesn't
yeah.
feel authentic. This feels really uncomfortable space for me, right? I'm looking for people I can do business with and be friends with.
There was a networking group, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but there was a networking group I attended a meeting of probably 8 to 12 months ago, somewhere in that range. And they basically there were so many people there. They gave everybody 30 seconds to introduce themselves, say what they do, and it took an hour and a half. And nobody could remember anybody because there was 75 people in the first hour, and then they took 10 minutes in a talk with whoever you want, and then there was like 75 more people after that, and you're like, how do you stand out in a group like that, because you have no opportunity to actually tell your story. And some people are really, really good in those scenarios. I'm not. I'm slow. I like to connect with people. I like to have conversation. I like to tell stories. I can't do that in 30 seconds. I need to have 10 minutes with someone in order to do that. And so that was not a good group for me.
Right. You have to work a little bit harder to get where you want to get with it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've been to those large group situations before. And so what I've done is literally while people are talking, I would make a note. I was making notes on my phone. So I make a note of who it is, company name, whatever it is. And like, these are my top people I want to meet at the end of this meeting.
Yeah.
And I would just focus on those. My goal was to chase them down, get a business card to them in their hand, get their card, and be able to say, I'm going to be contacting you so we can book a one-on-one, right? But you have to be very intentional, because when you've got a group that big, eventually you'll meet a lot of people there. But you really want to be intentional and focused. So just make a list as people are talking, right?
Yeah.
Just hint to keep moving forward with it, right? So let's say you've looked at the organizations, you've decided you want this organization, you've looked at the tiers, you're like, okay, I'm going to jump in on this one. This one looks good. Now you need to do some research on the actual members of the organization, right? So the purpose is to create those strategic alliances. So you got to go to the member directory. Right. The member directory is not there so that you can grab everybody's email and add them to your spam list. I mean, or I'm going to send you my newsletter, even though I don't really know you that well and I didn't ask permission. That's not the point behind the directory. The directory is a great place, though, to see who's who, what they look like, so you can recognize them when you get there. Right. In addition to looking at their industries, right? What are they doing? What's their job? What's their title? Right? Are they the decision maker in the organization? Are they somebody that's a gatekeeper for can get you in front of the right people? Is it an industry that you have synergy with? Is it, right? We always say realtors and mortgage people, right? They're send referrals back and forth, right? So if you're a realtor walking in, you're like, okay, who does home services? Who does, right? Who do I need to know? So whatever your specialty is, find the people that are going to be a complement, right? These are your collaborators, not your competitors that you're looking for.
Yeah. And I just don't overstudy. Let yourself be surprised when you go in. So there's a lot of prep you do beforehand, right, but don't find out absolutely everything about someone before you meet them. That is just
the information on the directory is usually more than enough to have, okay, that's what they look like. I'll recognize them when I see them. Okay,
and this is the industry they're in.
This is somebody I want to talk to.
Yeah. A funny story. So I was on the set of Supernatural, and I was working with a man named Misha Collins, who was very well known. I don't know if he's still well known or not, but he was well known because of that show. And I researched everything I could about that man, because I was like, this is an opportunity and I'm not letting go of it. And I lost track of the whole reason I was there because I was trying to connect with this guy so badly. And there was nothing that he could do at that point that could spark an authentic conversation with me anymore, because I spent like 3 or 4 hours researching this guy. And it was probably the weirdest conversations this guy has ever had in his life, because I could not, like, I was just like, I've got like my 8 questions I want to ask him, and like boom, 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 boom. And I'm pretty sure if he even remembered me, he would be like, oh God, not him again. Simply because I over researched him. And so I just highly recommend not doing that.
Yeah, don't become a stalker. I'm just saying.
Yeah, even if it's a one-time stalker, don't do it. Don't do it.
Right. Know just enough about them. This way you can say, okay, I want to check this person out. And you may find that you meet them and you're like, oh, my kind of people. Or might be like, ooh, scarcity mindset. We're not going to be a good fit. Right. So you're looking for those that want to also have that same kind of giver attitude that you have. Right.
Yes.
You got to have those aligned values. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. But not only who the members are, but look at who the leaders are. Right. It helps. I know when I went to an organization, I'd never been there before, but I was like, oh, I see this little pin. Let me ask about that. Oh, that's for the leaders. I'm like, okay, so now I just look for the pins. So I knew who the leaders were there. Yep. Make friends with the leaders at all times, add value. I'm just saying, good thing to do, get to know them because they know everybody. So when you walk in the door, they know who to introduce you to.
And if you can make yourself indispensable to the leaders, eventually the leaders will pay you back. They won't even be thinking about it. They'll just sit there and go, oh man, Joel helped me with this. Joel, I think you should really meet this person because they'd be really good connection with a referral source or whatever. But the idea is, if you can make yourself indispensable, they will do whatever they can to connect you with the people. And I'm not saying indispensable for a price. I'm saying indispensable for free, because they will connect you with where you need to be.
Right. It helps you stay top of mind, right? Develop the rapport. Take the time to develop the rapport with some of the leaders is really important. The other thing I like are the hidden gems. When it comes to those that maybe are a little bit quieter, not quite the ones that are in the leader role, but you've seen the wallflowers on the side, right? And they're not jumping in, but they sure want to make friends too, right? If they didn't, they wouldn't be there. Or maybe they're there because they feel like they have to be there, but they usually appreciate somebody coming up and being nice. Okay. So be nice.
Networking is not just for the extroverts.
Yes.
And the introverts are some of the best people to have on your team.
They remember, they value you.
They remember you, they value you. And when you go and ask them a question, they generally remember people better. Whereas extroverts will meet you, you'll feel very welcomed. But when you come back in 3 weeks because you couldn't make the last 2 meetings, they'll try and be like, hey, Christine, it's great to meet you. How are you doing? You'll be like, but I just met you like 2 weeks ago.
I already know you. Why would you say it's great to meet me, right?
Extroverts are fantastic, but look for the introverts. Just a little hint, because there are amazing people. I think about Nate. I don't know, in our network, Nate is one of the introverts, hardcore introverts. And he's one of the best people to have on your side. And it's it's like you would miss him in every networking event. You would miss him if you're not careful. And so look for those people.
Look for the hidden gems.
Yep.
So we talked about a little bit going out there and finding who it is that you're looking for, but be prepared ahead of time, but not over-prepared, like Joe mentioned, right? Be prepared with some conversation starters, right? What are you going to talk to these people about? Okay, so this is my hit list. This is who I want to go talk to. What do I want to talk to them about that's going to get their interest, right? Something, get them talking about themselves a little bit. What kind of questions can you do, right? Get them talking. And then they usually will turn around and ask you, I noticed, you've got a hobby for such and such. That's awesome. Can you tell me more about that? Right? Sure. What hobbies do you have? Right? You just never know where it's going to go. Start friendly. It doesn't always have to be business, right? But just friendly conversations are good. You want to get yourself in a position where you can develop the rapport and start building those win-win partnerships, but you kind of need to know what your end goal is in mind before you even start the conversation. Is this look like somebody that does events? Okay. Can you co-host events? Is that something that you want to try and achieve? Is this, are you both have different communities, right? I've got these 100 people, you've got those 100 people. Where's some overlap that we can share some love? Like Giver Marketing, broadcast to other communities, right? Because they're not marketing, but they're business communities. And so they love being able to learn from us and the marketing advice that we offer, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a community swap thing. Maybe it's some kind of collaboration on a project, right? Some kind of opportunity. Maybe it's a referral network thing. So whatever it is, kind of think about what's the end goal in this relationship, and then start building the relationship to get there.
Yeah. One thing that I'm not sure that we talked about a little bit, but I wanted to kind of bring up is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Authenticity is, you need authenticity and vulnerability. However, one thing I want to just mention, do not be like, if you want to be authentic, yes,
but don't overshare.
Don't overshare. It's not like I sit there and go, oh, Christine, it's so good to meet you. You know, this thing happened to me today and I can't believe that they did this. And by the time you're done talking, it's been 20 minutes. And Christine's like, how do I remove myself from this room?
How do I escape? Right.
Yeah.
I will never forget. You know, it was COVID time and we're on Zoom and people aren't used to being on Zoom and kids are home from school. And somebody was like, I was not meant to be a full-time parent. These kids are supposed to be at school. They're home. I don't know what to do with them. They're running wild. I'm trying to work and they're home. And they just lost it. Right. And you're like, okay, let's put you in a little breakout room with somebody else to talk to. And we'll just let it like, but normally that's not something you would want to express to a whole group of people on a networking event. Right. I mean, but we could understand and relate to it. Right. Because this was unprecedented times that people didn't know how to handle it. Right. So we get it.
However, in saying that, one of my clients I met in a networking group, he overshared and I just happened to be able to tell him the truth that he needed to hear in the moment. And now he's one of my biggest clients. So there is opportunity for people who overshare. However, you need to be able to know how to capitalize on that. And lots of times you're not the person that needs to overshare. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, you prefer not to be that person. It happens, you know, just work with it, roll with it. But we have to remember, like you said, authenticity. We're people first, business owners and professionals second. Yeah. So if something happens in a situation where somebody has shared something, you're like, oh, I was not expecting to hear that. Okay. Right. Whether they're going through a divorce, I mean, whatever the personal side of it is, you know, you can take an opportunity to step aside and have that personal conversation with them. That's okay. Sometimes there's times I've held meetings that are one-on-one with my clients where they needed to talk about something and it had nothing to do with business. And we just kind of put that time aside because they're people first. And until they could deal with that, they couldn't deal with the rest of it. Right.
Yeah. That means
it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be real.
Yeah. You really want to be real. You just want to be real and not overshare. All right, let's continue. We've got one more secret. We have one more secret in like 5 minutes to go.
So here's our secret, right? So set yourself up for success. Hopefully that gave you some ideas of what to do, preparing going before you join into the group, right? But the last secret is be active. Hello. You'd be amazed how many people don't do this.
We were just talking about this actually beforehand, that there's this person in the network that I really want to connect with. I've been trying to connect with him for 3 weeks, but he shows up every 10 days. And so we're 6 messages into this trying to connect with him. And I finally shared my networking link with him, and it's been 10 days. And I have to sit there and be like, okay, when is he going to be on next? When is he going to be on next? Be active.
Be active, right? If there's member benefits, take advantage of those benefits, whatever those are. Pay attention. Look at your contract that you're entering in when you join this membership. What's available, right? Pay attention to that. These are great opportunities, and be active, because like you said, there's nothing worse than sending a message and then a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, right? It's like, this is really hard to collaborate. If they're this hard to get a hold of, what are the chances that you're going to want to send them a referral?
Yeah, because any referral that I send you, if you took 10 days to get back to me, any referral that I'm going to send you, you're going to probably take 10 days to go after it.
That's exactly the conclusion we'll jump to, right? So they're not going to want you for a referral partner. So if you're not ready and you're not in a position right now to have some kind of response, maybe you need to hire a VA. Maybe you had to hire somebody to come in and give you a hand with that, someone to handle your customer service, whatever that is, but you might need some help if you can't handle it yourself. And that's okay, right? But somebody needs to acknowledge it. So you have to have somebody prepared to participate.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they actually, you'll see some of the chambers, they'll have an opportunity for 2 members, right? 2 people membership for the same business, right? This way you can kind of tag team things, right? So take advantage, look at what your options are and find something that works well for you. You want to make sure you're taking advantage of all those opportunities though. And the events, right? Events are huge. So make a list of the chamber events or the organization events. Which ones work into your schedule? Which ones do you want to put on your calendar just in case that time slot opens up and you can pop in? That's always nice.
Yeah.
Right. Or, maybe it's they come some kind of networking, maybe it's a mastermind, maybe it's some kind of discussion, maybe it's a member spotlight program, right? But take a look at all those different events that are going on and see how you can participate. Yeah. Not only in the official events by the group, but pay attention to the events being held by the members, maybe that so you can support their business. Right. Sometimes it's grand openings. Sometimes they're hosting some kind of learning, training, something or other that you want to go to. If you're trying to build a rapport with somebody specifically, show interest in them. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have about a minute or 2 left, Christine. I know that we barely hit this be active point. What are the most important things that you wanted to tell people?
I was going to say follow-up is really important. Participate, share what you're doing on social with the organization, start tagging the other members, right? So everybody can kind of form that group. Help create that group cohesiveness. Help people be part of the glue that holds that together and put that best foot forward, like we said about being the giver.
If you have an opportunity, if an opportunity comes up, even if it was on social media and you saw it, put it in the group chat, in the chat wherever your group is, your networking group. Put it in there and be like, hey, do you know what? I know that we're a bunch of networkers. There's someone looking for a digital marketing person. I know we're all marketers is what I meant to say, not networkers, but we're all marketers here. Does someone want to step into this? Here's a link to the job. Keep your eyes open and just share jobs when they come out.
Share opportunities, do shout outs, right? So you can boost out the players. Just did a great one-on-one with Joel. He's fantastic. This is what he does. Reach out to him, have a conversation with him, right? So use that opportunity to build relationships. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So you too can follow these secrets and be amazing with organizations when you get in there and take advantage of all the opportunities there.
Yeah. If you find us on LinkedIn, let me know. I want to have a meeting with you. Also,
Absolutely.
If you're in the Giver Network, that too. But you'll find me. But everyone can find me on LinkedIn. But the Givers, I want to meet with you too.
Absolutely.
Anything
find
else
us on LinkedIn?
Last thoughts. Perfect.
Let's have lots of fun. And thank you so much for being part of our broadcast today. I want to go ahead and remind everybody that every Wednesday we have Networking for Marketers. So it's marketers, it's PR people, it's anybody in the media space. Don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us, make more friends, and be part of our organization. That Wednesday meeting is always free. So come hang out with us, and you can find us at givermarketing.com/networking. That will let you register, save it on your calendar, and then come see us on Wednesdays and always every Tuesday for our Tuesday marketing broadcast.